Welcome to another edition of Through My Lens. I'm your host, Karen Jackson, and I am so excited to have my guest here. She's a sister girlfriend, she's a community advocate, she's an entrepreneur, she's a business owner, and I've known her for a very long time. So I'm so excited to finally get her on Through My Lens. And through this special segment, what we try to do is highlight individuals who have not let their setbacks, circumstances, or anything define who they are and what they can accomplish. So I think she is the epitome of that. And so I'm honored to have Mrs. Leronda Jackson with me this afternoon.
Hi. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. Despite all what's going on with this pandemic, we are alive and well, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Perseverance and resiliency. So I know you know a few things about that.
A little bit.
Okay, so let's get started. I wanted to know, how long have you been in business, and tell me a little bit about your business and what motivated you to start your own business.
Okay, so my business, and thank you for giving me this opportunity and finding me interesting enough to talk to. That's a blessing. So I own my own insurance agency, LFL Insurance, and in July it was 19 years, and nothing but God's grace has kept me for 19 years in an industry that's so competitive. It's dominated by men, it's dominated by white men. And so the only thing I felt like I could do was treat people the way I wanted to be treated. And I felt like when you make people part of your family, they'll stay with you. And it hasn't always worked. I mean, there have been people who have canceled or left me, maybe they found a cheaper rate, or maybe they had a claim or something and we had to part ways. But that's been my competitive advantage. When you go into entrepreneurship and they always ask you, well, what's your competitive advantage? And, how are you going to be better than the next person? And why you? Why not the other person? And all I can say is I treat my clients like their family. And so 19 years to sustain it and grow it. I give all the credit to God. I do what I'm supposed to do. I do have to get up every day and go hard. I do have to stay on top of the industry and know what's going on. I've got to do my part. So I can't just, I'm just trusting God. I'm laying in the bed. So it's hard work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice. There's been a lot of times where I had to pay staff. I got to have payroll. I might not get paid, but I can't miss a payroll. And so, you learn to live within your means. I say to everybody starting a business, don't take it to heart when your friends and family don't come with you at first, because they don't always trust that you know what you're doing. It doesn't mean they want to leave where they currently are. And so that was real hard for me. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. How is this person my friend and they don't have any insurance with me? I know they had to buy insurance because they driving a vehicle. And so, you have to learn that for everyone who won't, there's someone who will. And you just keep sharpening yourself and telling your story and impressing people to where they tell your story, which we call a testimonial. And then that's what gives you staying power.
All right. So tell me, what is one key lesson that you've learned during your 19 years about how to refocus and how to keep that resiliency alive when things may not be going the way that you hoped it would go?
It's days you just hit the wall and you got to know this is a day I'm hitting the wall. It doesn't mean I failed. It doesn't mean the world has failed. It doesn't mean God has failed me. I just hit the wall. It's just not a good day. And it's okay to have that day, and it's okay to admit that. And tomorrow will be better. So go on home. If you're self-employed, end the day at 3:30, 4 o'clock. If it's just not working, I call it the Midas touch and the black girl magic and your it factor. It don't be on every day. And so, you just acknowledge. I almost like to think about it and say, okay, now, so what happened? I started out good.
Mhm.
I got
Mhm.
out of bed. It started good. I came to the office, and then 2 hours later, it wasn't good. So then I try to like channel in on it. Okay, was it a phone call? Was it a conversation? Was it this person's fourth accident and you about to let them go? And they sit next to you at church. What shook my mood and threw me off center? And so then if I can focus in on that, I can handle it, I can deal with it, and I can put it away. And then I can regroup. So, I think entrepreneurs, especially us as women, we need to have a safe place to
Mhm.
talk and share our successes and our failures, our areas where we feel we're inadequate. I should have a safe circle where I can say, I just can't get this. I just can't grow this. I just can't get people to come to me. I just don't have the money to buy the product. I know I have a great idea, but I'm stuck. I got this hurdle. And we should be able to have a safe, collaborative place where we share. I'm gonna lick your envelopes and you gonna bring me the paper and I'm gonna help you stuff and
Mhm.
then I'm gonna help you do this. And let's brainstorm. I tried to do that a couple of different times with different women because I know we all have challenges in growing a business and I could never really get it off the ground. I felt as though if I paid $5,000 to go to this training and learn how to do this thing, I don't want to keep that to myself. Let me share that with you because I'm learning it again, so I'll get better at it. But then I gave you something that you didn't have to pay for. But I
Absolutely.
just could not, I couldn't get it off the ground the way I wanted to. I couldn't get people to show up. Um, so people have to be committed to growth. And everybody saying they want to grow a business, it don't mean they want to.
Absolutely.
And
And
so I just love to help people.
I think that's important because in times like this, where a lot of businesses are having to invent themselves in order to even keep their doors
Mhm.
open, um, I think your support system, the people that you build around you to help you in those tough times, really help to keep your business going
Mhm.
despite whatever challenges that you face.
Mhm.
Speak to a little bit about that and how the pandemic may have made you rethink and relook at and refocus some of your business decisions.
The pandemic and insurance, the pandemic has not been as drastic as if I were in hospitality or entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people, they still live in the same house. They still got to insure that house. They have the same vehicle. The liability is there. Now they're driving a lot less. So we got a lot of calls. I'm not driving to work. I'm working from home. Cut my insurance down. And we were ready for those calls. And then the
Mm-hmm.
insurance industry said, well, we're going to give some money back because people aren't using their vehicles as much. But as far as I've had a few companies or businesses that I insure that have closed, so now they no longer pay a premium. So that has impacted me, but it has not been as big. But it does make you think, like, am I ready? If this goes
Mm-hmm.
on and goes on and goes on, and now some of my electricians aren't working anymore, and my um, concrete people and different businesses that I insure, my carpenters now see a lot of them are doing more because people are doing home improvements. But
Absolutely.
I mean, if things stay the way they are, it's going to hit me too. So I think that just being a business person, just like what we already do at home, we're forward thinking. When I find out that um, profits are down at Lowe's, so as a business owner, I'm thinking, well, it's just a matter of time. You got to be forward thinking so things don't hit you in the gut and just just catch you off guard. Right now, they're saying how this winter is going to go. They're saying a dark winter. They're saying by the time flu season combined with COVID, it's going to be rough. I mean, you'd be crazy not to be preparing for winter right now.
Absolutely. And preparation, I think, like you said, is probably one of the best key lessons an entrepreneur can, develop and experience, because things will change. If it's not the pandemic, it'll be something else. And so you have to be, flexible and willing to pivot and make some tough decisions. And like you said, I thought it was important. You said staying within your means. I think that's so important as well, because you still will have expenses, and with things being so uncertain, you don't know what all those expenses will be.
Correct.
So let's talk. I do want to say this though. You mentioned a lot about your support system and having people you can go to. And I will say, I don't know if you remember this, but one of the first times that I met you, we were at some business workshop, and I remember you saying, "You know what? We're going to do this. We're going to do this," because we kept seeing each other at the different business development programs, and I just want to commend you, because you were like, we're gonna make this happen, and I have seen and watched you develop and continue to have your business blossom. And so I just want you to know I'm very proud of all the accomplishments that you've done not just as a woman business leader, but as an overall business woman.
Thank you.
And so now
you start a business and you don't have anything else to rely on. This wasn't a second job. This wasn't my nighttime hustle. This wasn't a gig for me. This had to work. That's a lot different than, well, from 9 to 5, I'm doing this over here. And then in the evenings, I do that over there. You go after it a totally different way. The grind is different.
And speak to that a little bit, because you have a lot of folks, including myself, who do have a 9 to 5, but definitely have a commitment to a business. What are some advice would you give those folks who may not be quite ready to be full-time entrepreneurs, but definitely have the passion to and the tenacity to stick to it?
So I would say, so when I went into insurance, I was so naive. I worked in insurance. I started out in customer service. I answered an ad for MetLife. I couldn't get the promotion I wanted because I didn't have a degree. And so I said, well, I'll go into sales. And I always had in my mind, I felt like sales, you can't give me this ceiling I got to break. Right. If I'm good and I sell 20 of these widgets, then if I get extra bonus for selling 25 and I get to 25, what you gonna do? So I didn't think it was political. I didn't think that sales, I just felt like if I went into sales, I could get paid based on my effort and energy that I put in. And so I always wanted that commission sales because I wanted to compete and be at my best level and get the best or the most I could get. Even now, I'm driven by contests and stuff like that. But I will say, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to get into the industry as an independent agent. I thought I was just going to go get the license, make a phone call. Hey, travelers, this is Leronda. I got a license. No, it was very hard. And so it was real hard. It was real dark. I was raising kids and, I didn't have income. And I was real. It made me draw on my faith in the Lord because I didn't have any money. And when you're a parent and you're trying to provide and it's Christmas and you're used to these big Christmases, because I had a great job at the berry company. And so I was like, what have I done? But then I couldn't go back because nobody was using Yellow Pages anymore. I had already left MetLife. So it was like, this has to work. This has to work. And so I would say if somebody is, deciding on leaving a job, a secure job, make sure you know that you have the grit to make it work. Like, this has to work. It's got to be well thought out, especially, you got to know your area. So if you're in Ohio and you selling ladies t-shirts for $60 and we used to spending $20, what were you thinking? Did you think that through? And was anybody going to buy that?
Mm-hmm.
Right now we're in convenience. People, I'll pay to have my meals prepped. I pay to have it cooked. So think along those lines. Know where we headed as a society, and does your business model fit that? Mm-hmm. And so I would just say to anybody starting a business, or you already been working it and you want to get out there and do it full time, make sure you got some money set aside so that you don't struggle so hard. But make sure you know that there's a market for what you're selling, because people in dating is different. We different. This ain't Cleveland or Atlanta. You got to know. People gonna nickel and dime you. They can't nickel and dime me because I don't set the premiums. But you always see posts on Facebook. My price is my price. I know somebody that tried to talk them down, but you got to know that. You got to know that going in, and you got to know what the competition is selling. If yours is $50 and I can get over there for $18, well, I'm not gonna give you $50 because you cute.
And you make a good point, because how do you make yourself stand out in different from your competitors?
Right. How you gotta always, what's your shine? How are you shining? My clients can call me 24/7. I know they can't call all these other insurance agents 24/7. So that's my one way of standing out. I try to do things for my clients to say thank you. I thought of this Christmas party idea because I didn't know who my clients were. If you buy insurance by fax or email, I never meet you. I know on the books that Karen Jackson is a client. I don't know what she looked like because she never came in. So I was running into people in the grocery store and in the marketplace, and they was like, "Did you get my payment last week?" And I'm like, I don't know her. So that's when I thought of having a client appreciation event. So it was my way of saying thank you for doing business with me. And I could meet you and touch you and hug you, and you can know me and my family. I brought my sons were coming in. And so that's what made it like family. And I started that. I haven't had one this last year because of COVID. And then I started doing like senior citizen, like a senior day, a day party where they're comfortable going out. I've done high school grads, parents paying a lot for their high schooler to drive. So that's the least we could do. So we had a couple of high school gatherings where the graduating senior could come out, and all of this was at my expense. So I feel like, okay, so maybe I spent a couple $1,000s to show my clients how much I appreciate them. But at the end of the day, they know they're more than a policy number. And so those are things that I feel like you got to show people that they're more than just $1.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, especially in the service industry.
Yes.
Now let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
I've heard you mention a lot about all the different ways that you have had to refocus and reinvent yourself, and all the roles you play, a mother, a business owner. And now that I know that you've entered the race for the state representative for the 40th district. Congratulations, by the way. And tell me, how did that come about? And why did you enter the race?
I just felt like I'm real passionate about issues and challenges, even if they're not my challenge. It might be your challenge, but I care. So I can't just I can't just mind my business. I got to say, you can't do that to her. So that's just kind of who I am internally, is a giver, and I'm passionate about people and the things that impact people. And so because of that, I started like following issues and candidates and trying to tell people, vote for this person because they do this, and don't vote for them. And don't forget when John Crawford got killed, Don't forget who the attorney general was who called in this special grand jury. So when that attorney general run again, he should not win. So I was trying to like connect the dots so people could understand how politics touch us all. And so some people say, well, I'm not political. Well, everything is political. Everything is political. Somebody made a decision about everything, whether it's the speed limit, the seat belt, the no front license plate or the front plate. All of it is political. So I started to pray about running for office because I wanted to be more of an impact on all of our lives. And so the day of the Klan rally, which I believe was like May 25th, I had been praying about it because you had the peace, I guess a peace rally over here. And then you had the Black Panthers over here. And, I was kind of like, well, I understand both sides. I understood why each side felt the way they felt. And so I was praying just that it would just be a great day for Dayton. And when I got done praying, the Lord said, it's time for you to run. He didn't say you're going to win. He said, it's time for you to run. So that next week, well, the tornado was that Monday. So we dealt with all of that. And then I ended up going down to Democratic headquarters and talking to Mark Owens. And I said, I want to run for office. And so the office I wanted to run for was different than the one I'm in now. And so I didn't want that person to run unopposed. And so he said, okay. And we talked a little bit. And then I got a phone call from Columbus. We need you to run for the State House. And I said, okay. And I already knew that meant Phil Plummer because I had helped the young lady who ran against him 2 years ago. And I never felt he should have got that seat. I just never, I didn't feel like he did a good job for Montgomery County as our sheriff. And I didn't feel that he should get an even more important job of writing legislation. So I was all in. I was as in then as I am now. And I got 6 days. And so when you look at kind of redoing yourself and this do-over person, I always say I'm the queen of starting over through whether it's been divorce, whether it's been getting an associate's degree at 55 and trying to figure out what is Dropbox and why can't I just email you the homework? I gotta put it in a Dropbox, just Google Docs. Lord have mercy. I was going through as an older student. And so, I feel like as long as we're learning, I want to be a lifelong learner. I don't ever want to think I've arrived or I got it because things change. Now I got to figure out, I had to call my grandson about TikTok and he's 7 years old. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what is this? So, I love to learn new things. I love to be engaged in people's process. If I can be part of the equivalency that got you from A to B, I am super excited. I don't want to just get there. I've had people say, well, what you running for? And why would you be a Democrat? You should be a Republican. You're a business owner and I haven't made it. And I definitely ain't made it. If she ain't made it and he hasn't made it, then I haven't made it. And I just believe that's how we get great. That's how we get great again. And that's how we have strong communities when we care about each other. And I mean, really care, not just the guy or the lady standing on the corner holding the sign that they homeless and that they want something. I'm not talking about that kind of caring. I'm talking about the kind of caring where you will sacrifice and give of yourself and make a real deposit into somebody else's future. I had this vision of, I just want every kid to take the ACT as many times as they got to take. And when they got to start paying, let me pay for the first one and you pay for the second one. And we get this business owner over here to pay for the third one. That's like reinvesting in each other and reinvesting. I came from parents, neither one of my parents made it to high school. I think my mom might have went to 8th grade. My dad might have went to 6th grade. So I didn't come from that educated family, and they was just hard workers. They would don't bring a C in their house. They couldn't even help me with the homework, but you was not about to be average student. And so I'm glad for that now, because that's the journey. When you hear living through the Great Depression, my dad was born in 1920. So when you hear things of we don't waste nothing, that cheese got a little mold on the end, just cut that slice off and we gonna eat the rest. So, I know how to, I know how to struggle. That's why when you have these crazy policies and these politics that hurt people, I'm like, you know what? I can handle it. I can handle it longer than you can handle it, because I know how to eat beans and cornbread all week. It ain't gonna break me. I'm not gonna hit depression because I ain't been out in a while. I know how to watch TV, or I know how to handle the challenge, because I know it's not gonna always stay like that. And and as an entrepreneur, we got to know it's not gonna always stay like this. We got to be on our game. I mean, all the time. All the time. I'm never gonna say, I ain't dealing with no black people no more, because that is the most asinine thing you can say. Because we always got to give somebody another chance. The best of the best mess up. I done went to, we always put Chick-fil-A in that best category. I done went there and didn't get something they told me I was going to get. I didn't say, I'm done going there because they didn't give me my sauce for my nuggets. So we are really critical on each other, but at the same time, we got to give our A game. My business hours, 9 to 5. If we ain't there 9 o'clock, I bet you it's not going to happen again tomorrow. Because if you want to be regarded as professional, then you got to bring it. Do what you said you was going to do.
That is so true. So tell me, what area does the 40th district cover? Okay. And tell me also, why should the residents in that district vote for you versus your opponent?
So District 40 is like the suburbs of Dayton. So it's about 80% of Inglewood, and it's gerrymandered. And I say that because it's a line drawn straight through the middle. And those people are pushed over into Clayton, Trotwood area. But it's Inglewood, Union, Vandalia, Butler Township, Huber Heights, about 80% of Riverside, about 9 precincts in East Dayton and Old North Riverdale, Dayton. And then there's some Clay Township and Brookville. So it's about 75,000 voters. And I feel like I'm the best candidate because I'm more relatable. I'm trustworthy. My baggage is not baggage that's life and death baggage. I don't know that there's a person alive that's made every great decision their whole life, but I'm transparent with mine and I own mine. I take accountability and I accept responsibility for what I do. And so, when I was trying to come up with what they call a stump speech, this is what you say to people when you're going to launch your campaign. And I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. And then one morning I woke up like 4 a.m. and I got it. It's like the Lord woke me up. And what he said to me was, I'm running for state rep because there's a disconnect between the state house and our house. And I'm trying to bridge that so that disconnect disappears. So for instance, you should know who your state rep is, what they do, and what they do for you. You shouldn't have to go to ohiolegislative.gov to see what bills are being proposed and what kind of laws they're crafting and what's going on. That should be the other way around. That should be communicated by the person in the seat back to the constituents. And I just think we have it twisted. Public service, I don't even want to be called a politician. I'd rather be called a public servant. That means I serve the public. The public don't serve me. Why are you in this seat? If you don't like people, if you weren't going to do the right thing for everybody, why are you even there? And so my opponent, the mailers, the little stuff, that he sent out, trying to make me look my worst and just saying stuff I never said. One of the things was Leronda wants to take away healthcare from private companies. So that's like the Anthems and the Aetnas and all of that. So why would I do that? And I'm an agent and I have contracts with those companies and I sell their products. So it's propaganda. I'm bigger than propaganda. I don't have to get on a propaganda agenda. I have an agenda that I feel is important. I've also talked to the residents. Before COVID hit, I was having listening tours. What's important to the people in Huber Heights? What's important to the people of Inglewood? There's this belief that Inglewood and Huber and Union and these people are Vandalia. It's some struggling people there. It's some apartments and some homes. The landlords should be locked up and the key thrown away because of how those tenants are living. So I care about everybody. I'm not mad at rich people for being rich, and I'm not mad at the poor. I've talked to so many people who despise the poor. It makes me want to cry. Well, all they want to do is get something for free. And, it's just this, it's ridiculous how we blame the poor for struggling when we don't blame the system that put them in it and kept them in it. I've heard a lot of people in these last several months that the campaign that I've been out here canvassing, really upset with people who need SNAP benefits or the moratorium on evictions because of COVID. I haven't heard anybody say anything about that CEO of Reynolds and Reynolds that stole the $2 billion. So we mad at poor people for being poor, but we not mad at rich people who steal.
Wow.
I don't get that. And that's why I'm running. And when I get there, oh yeah, we ain't voting on that stupid stuff. Why? No, that doesn't make any sense. And for people, minimum wage in January is going to go to $8.80. You can't pay rent with that. You can't buy a car payment. You can't buy a car, make car payments, and it just keeps people down. So the state comes in on the back end and then helps people out. And then people get mad at the state for helping them out. Require companies to pay more. I pay more. I expect more, but I'm going to pay more. It doesn't make me feel good. And one of the things I always say when I'm interviewing somebody, it doesn't make me feel good that I can go on my refrigerator and get whatever I want out, and the people who work for me cannot. You can call the office tomorrow and say, did she say that to you? I say that. I don't want people who work for me struggling. That's an insult. It's an insult. So that's why I'm running for office, because I know that there are people who don't care. And I call it the disconnect of indifference. I'm going to look over here, and what they going through over there ain't really my problem. You're not a leader.
Wow. So tell us, you said a whole lot during that time. So I think you're fine. I think you gave a really good synopsis as to the difference between you and your opponent. And I wanted to ask you, what is the number one question? I heard you mention a lot of different issues. What is one or two questions that you keep getting asked on the campaign trail?
Honestly, the number one question I get is, how do I feel about abortion? I guess because it's the suburbs and that's a real hot topic. I'm asked that by people who ain't gonna have no more children anyway. But pro-life or pro-choice is a major issue I have found. Trying to think of another major. Maybe healthcare. I'm going to say healthcare, because you have people angry about the Affordable Care Act, but they don't want to let that healthcare go. And you have people who have been on the Affordable Healthcare Plan or Obamacare, but they don't tell it publicly. So, that's a little borderline hypocrisy there. When you don't tell how you was laid off and you needed it. Now all of a sudden you doing okay, get rid of that. So I don't do the hypocrisy thing at all, at all. So those are probably the two major issues. I had somebody call me at 1 o'clock in the morning and I was asleep. But when you got kids, you always answer your phone. And so I think I might have hung up on him or something, but he ended up texting me and saying he had a question that he wanted to ask me before he voted. This was going to be the question, to make him decide on who he was going to vote for. And I said, okay. So I said, well, you can talk to me between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. I felt like that was more than enough time. And he wanted to talk about how I felt about being pro-choice. And so I said, well, at the end of the day, it's a woman's choice. I don't serve God. He don't make me serve him. There's no legislation that made me go to church Sunday or make me pay my tithes or do any of those other things. I serve God in free will. So I said, I have a hard time taking away a person's free will when I do what I do out of free will. And so, he gave with all these different scenarios and stuff. I said, sir, if you were pro-life, life is that 5-year-old in the cage. It's that 19-year-old that's out of foster care, and now there's nowhere for them to go because our system is set up to end at 18. It's that senior citizen that has to decide between medication and groceries. So pro-life is pro-life from the cradle to the grave. And so I just feel like it is a subject that has been taken and used to beat people up and to keep us divided. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a very private matter. And I don't think that the government has anything to do with it. Maybe if you make people feel like they got more options, then abortions would not be as popular as they are. But, we live in a society where we treat people bad if they ain't got some money. Mm-hmm. Look at how we treat the poor and look at credit. And I can talk on this because I've been there. Look at needing to get a car and the types of buy here, pay here places that are in neighborhoods where the income level is not as high. You don't see buy here, pay here south of town. All of the cash, I forget now what it's called, payday lending places. When you look at the interest rates that poor people pay, just because I can, I charge more just because I can. That's terrible. That's why I'm running for office. And it's systemic. It's a system of keeping people down. And I'm trying to change that with all I got. But I got to win first. They got to vote for me. People got to help me. You got to volunteer. You cannot win. I learned, let me tell you about being a person who's had to start over. This has humbled me in a way because, on a business, if I need something done, I'm gonna be like, okay, I need you to do this. I need by 1 o'clock. I don't see anything keeping you from doing it. But when you're running for office, you got to, can y'all come in? Can y'all help me go through it? Can y'all, it's too many moving pieces. And so I don't need their help. I got this. I do this by myself. You cannot. So that humbled me in a mighty way. I mean, like crying every day. I was crying every day, literally. I don't know how to do this. I don't know. And what is that? And, it has humbled me for the better. Asking for money. I have a real issue with asking people for money. And so then people are like, well, you're not begging for money. They need you at the State House. So really, they're making an investment in themselves. But when I call somebody and say, hi, this is Leronda. If you could support me with a check for $100 a day, but $100.
I was talking about the salesperson who is always I cannot believe that.
Because I'm giving you something. I don't have no problem telling you your car insurance is $100 a month. Because I protected you. I gave you. But when I tell you, I need you to invest in me $100, that's going to go towards these cards I got to buy. You look at these door tags. I pay like $3,500 for these door tags. And then you look at mailers, and then don't even think about getting on TV. That's why you don't see me on TV. It
Well,
started
that's
at
great. You
20,000. I'm not
coming here to the podcast.
So it has really been a humbling experience. But what you're raising money for is to get your message out.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing so much walking. I've literally walked this almost all of this district. I have hit over 20,000 doors because I got more energy than money.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I connect, and I know that people feel the authenticity when I tell them why I want to fight for them at the State House. Not just people that I know voted for me. I told a guy, he said, well, I'm a staunch Republican. I've already voted, but I'm a staunch Republican. I was like, staunch? Do you know how fabulous and fantastic I am? I'm out here in the rain. It was pouring down rain, and I was still going door to door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I will say, you working today. I will say, this out here in the rain, because people are worth that. And you should meet your candidate. It shouldn't be, I mailed you a couple things and ran a couple TV commercials, and now, I just want you to vote for me just because my name. Nah, what you going to do for me? So my number one and number two that people ask me, when you get to Columbus, what's the first thing you want to do? I really want to attack the low wages. We got to pay people more. We can't have all these parents working 2 and 3 jobs and their kid at home. Then you're mad at them because their kid at home. No, it's greed. Greed keeps us from doing people right. So wages, definitely our public schools, expanding these vouchers. You live in a great school district. No, you're not about to take this tax money and send your kid to Alter or Carroll or some other school just because you can. No, we're not doing that. You're taking money from a system that's already broken.
Well, that sounds like you have just outlined exactly what you will do if you get so elected, and we're just going to already claim that. But I wanted to ask you also too, you mentioned about needing people to help you canvass and volunteer. What are some ways that individuals can help you between now and next Tuesday? And how can they connect with you?
My phone number, 937. I might as well put it out there because the auto warranty people got it. Or they call 24 hours a day. So 937-416-5617. I have my email is info@voteLerondaJackson.com. I'm still going door to door. I'm still getting my message out. I have lists of people who have not voted yet. So I need to connect with them. So if you can walk with me or make phone calls, the phone call is, hi, I'm calling on behalf of Leronda Jackson. Are you going to vote? It's just that simple. If they say, I already voted, thank you. If they say, don't call my house no more, okay, thank you. It's no hard feelings. We just move on. But I really need people to help me make phone calls. And then I need people to help me stand at the polls, the various polling locations across the city where I'm running or where I'm going to be on the ballot. If I could have somebody just out there with my sign or being present, that's what I'm working on.
All right. Well, that sounds awesome. And is there anything else you'd like to add about as a business owner and soon to be state representative of the 40th district?
Here's what I want to say. I want to say to Black women, you are good enough. You are smart enough. And you are enough. So it doesn't matter what company or what person says you come up short on their grading tool. We have to realize I'm enough. And that's all I just want to, if we could teach our young people that, not just girls, young men too, I'm enough. I am enough. And so that's all. That's what I want to leave us with.
And that is a mouthful, because I think we all have the power within us to accomplish whatever God has already preordained for us to do. And we just have to believe what he says and not what others say. And so we are enough, and we have everything what we need to do the things that God has called us to do in this life.
Yes.
So I just really appreciate you. I appreciate your tenacity for advocating for all people. And again, what I like to do is at the end of this interview, I like to, in the bottom, include your contact information of how others can connect with you
Okay.
and help support your campaign. But we really, really appreciate you. And we wish you nothing but the best. And we look forward to seeing you at the State House.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.